Welcome to a spark of awareness. We live in a time where we are constantly being stimulated, prompted by systems, by algorithms, by AI. But when we outsource our answers, we slowly give away our authority, our inner voice, our self-mastery. Conscious leadership has no shortcut, no hack, and it can only begin from within. It is the courage to stop escaping and to sit with what's alive and present inside, even when it's very uncomfortable, but that's where growth is. And this podcast is a space for that. This podcast is an evolution. And every week, I will share a 15-minute human prompt, live, non-performative. It is a moment of reflection drawn from my work in conscious leadership, from the journeys of the leaders I coach and accompany, and from what is moving in a collective film of what is humanity and leadership. I am Sophie, a conscious leadership coach and guide of transformation. I support leaders who are crossing the threshold right now from the old system of leadership, a legacy, into a deeper, more conscious way of being. If the traditional model no longer resonates, know that you are not alone, and that is your weekly practice. This is your time with your inner world. This is your weekly spark of awareness. Welcome. So hi everyone, here we are on the last and the fifth self-sabotage pattern, which I will share today. So as a reminder, we went through the past episode through the 5 self-sabotage patterns. The fifth one I'm going to share today. I'll summarize because in case you missed the episode, you may want to go back to it to check where you are. The first pattern is shutting down your intuition. Second pattern, people pleaser, having weak boundaries. Third pattern, leading from a place of fear, making decisions from fears, paralysis analysis. Fourth, sabotage, having an empty cup, being at the edge of burnout, depleted. And today we will address the last one, the fifth sabotage, which is running the show solo, or what I call the survivor mode. I'm very familiar with that one because that's probably the one that hits the most home for me. And if you wonder if you are self-sabotaging yourself with this pattern, let me share a few behaviors if you're a solo survivor. You rarely ask for help for different reasons, but your default mode is you will do it yourself. And there could be many reasons in the background. First one, you don't want to bother others because you don't think that you deserve help and you don't want to be a burden for others. So it comes from a good place to not disturb others. So you are just self-reliant. Another reason is you believe that the work can only be done the best by you. So there's a piece behind this that you may not trust others, or you want to go fast and you don't want to rely on others because it creates dependency. Another third reason tied a bit to what I just shared is basically you don't trust others that they will do the work well, or you don't want to manage others. You don't want to have, again, dependency. So it has different forms, but the result is the same. Your default mode is to do things by yourself as far as you can, and even if you suffer, you'd rather suffer alone and metaphorically die alone rather than ask for help. There's nothing wrong about it. There's nothing wrong about you, but it is a self-sabotage pattern. I call it the survivor syndrome. And why it matters here? Because if you are leading your life, you are leading a team, you are leading your business, there's no way you're going to go very far alone. Even if in a part of you believe I can do this alone, I'm better than the others, I'm telling you, you can't do this alone. You probably know the saying, if you want to build something big, you build with others for impact. And you are forced to grow when you work with others. So examine why you put yourself in a situation where you're running the show solo. what is behind. I want to share my story because, like I said, that's probably the self-sabotage that I have embodied the most, not only professionally, but also personally. So my story is this. I was born in a family of immigrants, parents immigrants from Vietnam. And my parents came with nothing to build a new life, a new generation of wealth in France. And I remember at very young age, they opened a restaurant, Vietnamese restaurant in Brittany. I was probably 11 by that time. I have two siblings. I was named the little parent while my parents were busy working for the restaurant. It's very common in Asian families that the elders take the position of the second parent, the second mother. So very young, I was the mother to my siblings. I was the mother to myself. And on some occasions when my parents were stressed, I was the mother to my parents without consenting, agreeing with the role. But that was the role I was put in. And so growing as an adult, most of my life, my operating system has been I'm responsible for others because no one can be responsible for me. I can't trust my parents to take care of me emotionally, psychologically, because they are stressed. They can't take care of me, so I need to take care of myself. And my siblings were younger, so they needed someone to help them, protect. I was that person. So very young, that program was really planted. And later it translated in I don't trust others. I don't trust partners. I don't trust the romantic partners. I believe that I can do the job better. I don't want to hire a team and so on. I have worked with team in companies, but when I build my business, very different story. For me, the challenge is to trust. Was to trust. And I want to give a few direction here if you find yourself in this situation, because everything that is behind doing things solo, it's a pattern or a wound. It's a wound of trust. So you can first examine who, when, where in your life you have been betrayed. Where was your trust broken? When did it start? Was it when you were a child with the parents, with siblings at school? And what is the charged energy it has from that moment? I know some founders are traumatized by the past companies they built with co-founders, it didn't work out. And so that created also a new trauma. So try to track back the events that made you really distrust others. Usually it's events that you felt betrayed. And I have felt so much betrayed in my whole life until I changed my inner story. Because no one is purposefully trying to betray you. But how we experience it feels like a betrayal. And when we experience it like this, we trust even less in the future. And that's where you start to overprotect yourself and self-sabotage. So one thing you can do is we can't change this by just thinking about it. That's what I do in my coaching. We don't just talk, we do somatic shift, and we also push actions to change. So trust does not develop by thinking about it. Trust develops by trust. So if you find yourself not trusting others, how can you start to experiment? Let's call it experiment. Trusting others with some work, working with others. Maybe you don't hire full-time someone. Maybe you work first with a contractor. Maybe you don't onboard a co-founder directly. First, you work together. You employ that person. What is a small step of experiment you can do to rewrite the story of trust and betrayal? And see for yourself, is this still true? And if there are some parts that are true, which parts are true? Maybe it's in the people you choose to collaborate with. It has nothing to do with people in general. Maybe it's your own behavior in it. Maybe because you are distrusting, you're acting in a certain way that make people feel not trusted. And so they start to act out. It's always a dynamic. Trust goes both ways. And distrust goes both ways. So if you don't start to trust, there's no way that someone can trust you. So it has to start with you. So I'll invite you to write down and think about a small experiment where you can start to onboard someone to help you. Examples. Like I said, hire someone, a contractor, work with someone, pay for a service, work with a coach, get some help. Maybe on an emotional level, you need some support. It's not wrong. You're not weak. You deserve also to be held because you have held others most of your life. That's the pattern we try to break. No one is a warrior alone. We all deserve to get help so we can help others. And I'll share some resources here, which I shared in the previous episode, but the one I can think the most of. Be a bit the investigator, the scientist of your own life, and try to understand what's the origin of your distrust. Why are you running things alone? Look at your parents. How are they dealing with that? What is their relationship with others? So I recommend, again, this book, It Didn't Start With You, from Marc Wolynn. I'll share the link again in the show notes. Check my last blog post called Life is a Game, where I write in detail how our inner story and self-talk creates our reality. And that's what we work on. We don't work on the external events. We work first on the internal events. What is the story you tell yourself? What is the story you have about people around trust? If deep down you believe that people can't be trusted because people are inherently wrong, have bad intentions, then you will see and experience that a lot. So that's what we work with. Rewrite your story, your inner talk. And I have some journaling exercises in that post. You can check it and I will link it in the show notes. So that's the last one we covered today. And in the future episodes, I will go a bit deeper in each of those self-sabotage with a bit more practical tools and coaching exercises. So in case you find yourself in fear with empty cup, not trusting your intuition, running things solo, or being a people pleaser, not having boundaries, we will cover all of that, energy management, because this is the foundation of my coaching. So we will deepen it. So it's very important. If you have missed the previous episode, check it. It's a whole series. It's 15 minutes. It's a reasonable commitment for a big impact in your life to change the behavioral shifts. So as usual, I will close this practice today for your weekly grounded meditation with me. For people who work with me now, you are used to that practice. I know it feels a little awkward at the beginning, but it will feel less awkward and you will actually appreciate it more and more as you practice it. So I invite you to close your eyes and just connect with your normal breathing and your body. Feel your body moving as you're breathing normally, your chest expanding. The air going through your nose and exhaling through the mouth. And keep breathing at a normal rhythm. And if you find yourself with running voices in your head, just observe them and reconnect to your breathing. It's your compass, it will always be there, no matter what. Deep inhale through the nose and deep exhale through the mouth. And as you deepen your breathing, you can start to maybe release some sound, tension in your body. Let's do it one last time. Deep inhale through the nose and hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Exhale through the mouth. Any sound, any tension, any movement in your body that needs to shake it off. And just observe right now how you feel in your body. Are you less in the mind and are you more present in your body? So as you digest what I shared today and the previous episodes, I invite you to again dedicate some minutes to write down in a journal what come up and what will be your commitment to shift your behavior. I wish you a great reflection and a great week. And I'll see you next week for our next chapter. Thank you for tuning in into this weekly reflection, a weekly spark of awareness. After this episode, I invite you to take a few moments with yourself, even just 15 minutes to sit with what resonated, to breathe, and to notice what is shifting inside. This is a practice, a discipline of presence, truth, and self-connection. If this work speaks to you, I accompany leaders in one-on-one journeys and group experiences of transformation, supporting them as they cross the threshold into a truer and freer way of leading and living. If you feel called to explore this path, I would love to hear your story, and let's connect. Sending you love and courage, and have a great week ahead. This is my spark of awareness.